All right. So YouTube, it's been a long time since I've done one of these, and well, it's all irrelevant. I'm gonna have to edit this out. Anyways, what's up YouTube? Here I am, coming out of retirement and do a little market update to kind of give you guys an idea of what I'm seeing and what I'm eyeing in this market. Um, yeah, market's been selling off, right? We've been in this massive sell-off, really like long drawdown, right? And I don't like these like circular tops. Like a rounding top is never good. And sometimes they correct deep, like what we saw for here, right? This big drop for Tariff Day, Liberation Day. And now we're seeing more of a rounding. We did see this like bounce, but is this a dead cat bounce? If it is a dead cat bounce, how's it going to play out? And what does that mean for crypto, right? What does that mean for Bitcoin? What does that mean for everything? So here we go. I'm going to dive in. I did post some updates. I've been really active on X, super active on X. I did post some updates in Discord yesterday. I'm going to try to fire things back up. Um, I see a couple of scenarios. I see a couple of scenarios here. One of them being a top chop, right? A top chop is basically a 1.272 extension out of the range for a kickback in the other direction, right? So basically it comes down here, does a fake out, runs up. That is my scenario number one for what markets just did, right? Being scenario number one doesn't mean it's the highest likelihood, it's just one of the scenarios I'm eyeing. Where did we see something similar? We saw something similar here. Um, Now, this was also a 50% retrace. Here, we'll go back. So scenario number one is potentially we bottom, we're gonna run up. Um, it doesn't make too much sense, but markets are irrational, right? Stay with me. I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense because generally the corrections on SPY, they go a little deeper, right? So what do I mean by that? The last top chop we saw was a 50% bullish retrace to the previous swing low, right? So I'm saving some capital before I go like completely long, balls to the walls, um, zero zero short exposure. I'll probably start flipping super long here and definitely here. I'll explain why, right? The last three corrections, so we saw, we'll call this one, this was Biden era, right? Biden became president somewhere around here. Then we had the Biden era pullback on the ES or S&P 500, right? That was a 50% on the NIBL. Here I'd taken like 2 years off trading and I came back in. I picked this low, I picked this low, I picked this low. And I had myself a massive run, put me back into retirement again. So I'm hoping to nail this correction right so we can lever up at the bottom, ride it, and not have to trade for a while, right? Like that's the dream. That's kind of been the story of my life the last 2 years. Um, so Biden correction, 50% retrace. Why is my pen being spotty? 50% retrace continues back up. Okay. And we go from Biden correction to Liberation Day, once again, 50% back up. Now, what we could be seeing is a little dead cat at the 1.272, right? To continue down at 50%. At like 59.55, that is flip long, cut all the puts territory. Um, Basically, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Now going into this, as I posted some of my positioning on Discord, when we touched the 1.272, I was also looking at Bitcoin, right? And because these markets they kind of they move in tandem, right? Bitcoin, I don't believe Bitcoin has bottomed while the stock market's crashing, and the inverse might be true, but Bitcoin was looking rather bottomy, right? Because it was doing 61.8 bounces. So I look at the SPY again. I'm like, what's going on? Oh, it could be a 1.2 top chop. Let's lever up. So I had some QQQ calls that I'm still holding. Yesterday I played a day trade scalp in Discord for like a 30% return on TQQQ. We bought the I posted I posted an entry here and a sell here. Now, why are we stuck? Why are we stuck? Right? I do believe there's a 61.8 bear retrace here, right? So this is our resistance. Until this flips, I don't think we're gonna go higher. But this is also good news, right? Because like last time we bottomed, we had a zigzag happening off the 50%. So we saw one of those yesterday play out, right? So if we kind of come back down and bounce again off the 50, I'll once again cut the puts, add long exposure. So here, I don't know if you guys can see, we bounced the 1.272, rallied up, sold off, rallied up, sold off again. Second hit off the 50, chart took off, okay? And we're going to see the same thing. Maybe, possibly, we've got a 61.8 pin up high, a 50% pin down low. This was good volume. This was good volume off the 50. Barely touched it. So in case we get a secondary reaction here, or even here, and we start heading up, I'll cut some puts. We might just do that. But in case we don't, right, we're going into this long weekend, and I basically geared up Discord to go into this long weekend with some puts because we don't know what's gonna happen. There's a bunch of troops in the Middle East. And the war's not over, right? Have you seen the worst of it? Maybe like Hormuz is closed. We haven't seen the worst of it in terms of all the oil facilities in the Gulf, they're not all destroyed, right? Trump said if he goes after Iran, Iran said that if Trump goes and destroys their infrastructure, they're going to destroy all the infrastructure in the Gulf, right? So we haven't seen that play out. All right, this is the S&P. We can think the same. QQQ, I'll go over QQQ. QQQ corrects deeper. It's like higher beta, so we're going to see amplified moves. Let's go to the daily. QQQ generally hits the 61.8 anytime the S&P hits the 50. COVID or this era didn't. What about here? What about here? Here it did. I remember this to the T because that's where I flipped long, right? So we saw 61.8 here. We saw 50% on Liberation Day. And I think this was a 1.272. Might have been a 1.4 because it's amplified. Yep. That's what you get with higher beta, right? Higher beta, you have bigger swings. More volatility. It's also more moves to capture, right? So like, I'll look at the ES and the ES bounces 1.2. I flip long on the QQQ. That'll run up a little higher. Same thing on the short side. All right, where were we? Let's look at Bitcoin. Let's look at Bitcoin. I've been like really posting about BTC on X. So if you guys don't follow me, it's at CoinOBS on X. A whole lot of BTC analysis. A whole lot of BTC analysis. So make sure to follow me there. So what was going on here during this correction, right? After we bottomed, I levered up a few times, right? And it was pretty stinking obvious, right? Mostly more so on ETH than BTC, because BTC did do like 786, 786, and then here, I believe I did. I think it was like 1919. Let's look this up. 1919. So this was March 8th. You know, I said ETH 1919 is the bottom. Uh, Bingo. Right? We kind of like bounced 1919 before it took off on the big candle. Right? So you're seeing some of these like reflexive moves out of 61.8. We did see this previous 61.8 hold up, which means bulls are still in this trade. And then what happened? We had a higher high, so we extend the range. And we just bounced the 61.8 a few days ago, right? We bounced it again. We didn't get a takeoff candle, right? But it didn't quite take off just yet. The count looks a little incomplete. But what made me consider the top chop on the ES is this, right? The 61.8 holding on BTC. Now, what did we do yesterday in Discord? We had two 61.8s overlapping, and I came in. I said, "Hey guys, this looks like a decent area to bid along." And sure enough, some of you guys took it. And let's go into like the 30-minute chart and just kind of study this a little deeper, right? So this is our swing low, Alt F. That's our swing high. What happened here? 786, right? So I thought we could elongate here. It kept dipping down here, but now we're seeing another 61.8 hold. And I think we'll get an upwards break on this one. Can't guarantee it, right? But like doing a leverage entry here, stop here, should send this thing upwards. Um, that's that. That's what I have on BTC. Let's look at ETH. Now, there's a caveat, right? We could not be, if in case I'm still in my ETH long because it didn't wick as bad. I got stopped out on my BTC long. ETH took off the 61.8 on a good volume candle, and now we're like attempting to continue upwards. I am levered up on ETH. Now, the caveat is we potentially bottomed across both markets if and especially if the top chop scenario plays out, right? If we don't go down and into deeper territory, that's a big if, right? We haven't seen the worst of it in terms of we saw the Hormuz Strait get shut down by Iran. We saw the Houthis, Bab el-Mandab, right? Their strait as well is under their control. I think the worst case scenario would be Iran attacking the Gulf states' oil facilities. That should set inflation up, right? Because everything's gonna get more expensive. Generally, stocks follow, but there could be a scare. There could be a scare. So, just wanted to send you guys into the weekend with these scenarios in mind, so you have time to think about the markets. And you have an action plan, right? You have an action plan. The market dips, are you just gonna like short low and then like buy high? Are you gonna like buy the open? Or are you gonna wait for a pullback? And or do you have the worst case scenario in mind? This is my worst case scenario. Well, this is worst case scenario. And this is more worst case scenario, right? Like these two levels are critical. I didn't bring up the 61.8 earlier, but that was the COVID low That was the COVID low. If you go to the weekly, COVID low is really interesting because like I predicted that one, right? Months before, like we started trading January of 2020. Um, so it was at 1.618 plus the 61.8, I believe, if I chart this correctly. That looks deeper. That's a 786. Um, it was a 1.618 extension retest, right? And the 1.618 extension retest here lines up with the 61.8 from previously, right? So they're literally the same level. So that might be in the cards. That might be in the cards. Though, you know, like these are two worst case scenarios. Best case scenario, it was a top chop, and I'll go over that one more time. A top chop is basically you take the lowest low from that range, and you go to the highest high, and you map out your 1.272. Have you seen this before? We have. We have. So, yep. So send you guys off into this long weekend. Happy Easter. Discord's back active again, so make sure to hop in if you want to follow along.